What's up, everyone? Josh or Miho here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an album review to do for you, and I'm going to show it to you right now. This is the new album from the band Guttural Secrete entitled Nourishing The Spoil. This is released on Brutal Bands. Now, if you're not too familiar with this band, they're based out of Las Vegas, Nevada, and the best way to describe the sound of this band would be a very dirty, filthy, but musically sound style of brutal death metal. And this has been the kind of style that Guttural Secrete have been doing for quite a long time, even going back to their first EP, Artistic Creation with Cranial Stumps. Just some really over-the-top, complex music, but it's done very well. In 2006, they came out with their debut album entitled Reek of Pubescent Despoilment. Now, this album here, in my opinion, is the prime example of learning to not judge a book by its cover. Because beneath the crazy album cover art hid some incredibly brutal, disgusting, and just musically perfect brutal death metal. I mean, so much craziness and technicality within the guitar work, the smooth bass tones, the very fast and hyper speed of the drums, the inhuman guttural vocals. This debut album had it all, and I honestly consider this to be one of the best brutal death metal debuts within the last 10 years or so. It's that monumental, in my opinion. And now, 7 years later, we have their long-awaited sophomore album entitled Nourishing The Spoil. It's 9 tracks, and it runs around 36 minutes in length, and after giving this album multiple listens, it made me think of the question, was this album worth the 7-year wait? And in my opinion, the answer is an absolute resounding yes. Not only have these guys continued to step their game up as far as a musical front is concerned, but it honestly makes me think that with this album, brutal death metal is going to become something better, something more fluid, something more modern. And what I mean by that is just the way everything about this album sounds. From the way it's produced, to the twists and turns you don't see coming. This is a new part of the newer style of brutal death metal that's been coming out. I mean, more recently with albums from Devourment and Catalepsy, maybe even the new Defeated Sanity to a certain extent. This is brutal death metal on a higher level. And good God, this may end up making my own top 10 or even top 20 of this year. We'll see how long this goes. Musically, it's just as sizzling as the first album, although things have stepped up incredibly. The guitar riffs just sound absolutely immaculate. I just love the way the chords are, just the way the riffs are played, very heavy, very well articulated. And there's even moments on this album that make you surprised, like take the track Dead and Prior to Coitus. It almost feels as if you're listening to a modern-day Deathspell Omega song because of how entrancing and hypnotic the riffs are on that song. It's just absolutely crazy. To even the closing track on this song, Clouding the Vacant Stare. There's a moment, like, I want to say halfway towards that song, where it almost breaks into more progressive jazz kind of territories. It's as if you pick up a little bit of cryptopsy with this kind of sound, and I think that's crazy. I think it's crazy that they choose to be so creative as far as music and songwriting goes. I think the riffs here are just spectacular. Bass-wise, I think it's a really good, solid bass tone. It blends in nicely with the guitar work. You do hear it quite well, but more often than anything, this is a guitar-driven record. But what you do hear of the bass, it sounds really solid. The drum work is still as frantic as can be. It's very fast-paced. You can barely keep up with it at times, but still, the drumming is just absolutely top-notch and stellar. I really dig the way the snare tone sounds. It has a very natural, true kind of sound. It doesn't sound like it's overproduced. No drum mix is higher than the other. You can hear the snare hits perfectly, the way the toms sound, the way the cymbals are mic'd, just the drum fills, and everything else that you hear on this drum performance is just pretty immaculate and very, very natural. It just feels like a natural drum performance on a brutal death metal record, and that's something very refreshing to me. And the vocals, I don't know how Blue Jensen does it, but his voice is just absolutely absurdly guttural. Very powerful, very strong, very well worded. The way he delivers his vocals, it's just stunning. This guy has some incredibly deep lows, and that's the perfect kind of style for this brand of brutal death metal. It's just disgusting. His gutturals, his lows, just the way he words his stuff, it's just sick. Even the lyrics are still just as over the top and crazy as you would expect on a Guttural Secrete release, although things do seem to be a little bit more well thought out and planned and a lot more intelligent. I think it's pretty kick-ass. I believe there's a redo of a song from the first album, Coprophilic Asphyxia. I think that's pretty creative that they decided to redo that song for this album. It's pretty funny how at the beginning you hear something about a remix or something like that. I think that's pretty damn solid. And even some of the other songs that are included on this album, like Stainless Conception and Voyeuristic Engagement, those are some really good, solid quality brutal death metal songs, and this is definitely pretty much brutal death metal album of the year for me. So overall, this album was worth the 7-year wait and a great deal more. This is brutal death metal on as high of a level as it can possibly get. I don't know if that kind of term even exists, but with what's going on with this album, the music, the song structuring, the lyrics, the vocals, the guitar riffs, the bass licks, the drum patterns, it's all here. This is intelligent, brutal death metal. Don't let the crazy artwork or song titles fool you. This is some incredibly intelligent, brutal death metal, and definitely be on the lookout for this album wherever you're able to. And that's another thing I want to mention. If you are able to buy this album physically, just buy it. It doesn't matter where you buy it from. If you buy it from the band, if you buy it from Brutal Bands, if you happen to pre-order it from there, if you happen to order from a brutal death metal distro like Severed or Comatose or Deep Sand, wherever this album is available physically, if you like this kind of stuff, buy it. Buy it, buy it, buy it. It's awesome stuff. Definitely support Guttural Secrete in the best way that you possibly can. If I had to pick any favorite songs, I definitely would have to say Stainless Conception, Serrated Impurities, Dead End Prior to Coitus, Voyeuristic Engagement, and the closing track, Climbing the Vacant Stair. So this is top quality brutal death metal, and this is definitely going to be on my year-end list, hopefully. So I'm going to show you the album again. This is Nourishing the Spoil by Guttural Secrete. This is released on Brutal Bands. Buy this! And as far as the score is concerned, I'm going to give it a 9.25 out of 10. This is sensational brutal death metal, so support Guttural Secrete and welcome them back with open arms. I'm going to conclude this review. Thanks all for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel, and until the next time, I'm Miho out.